Muriel, Ruby, let's go.
Come on, let's have a candid conversation. Let's talk about it. Just bring it up, we got hope and love.
Yeah.
It's all about you and your well-being. A candid conversation show. Let's go, let's talk about
Hey,
it.
let's walk it out. Let's talk it out.
It's all about you.
Let's walk it out. Let's talk.
Thank you for joining us for another Candid Conversation. My name is Muriel.
And my name is Ruby.
Just because you see a smile does not mean everything is perfect. We all have a story. On the show, we discuss topics that are unspoken and taboo in our community. We are excited to have a conversation with Tanika Poole, where we will be discussing her nonprofit, her book, and being an abuse survivor.
Welcome to the show, Tanika.
Thank you very much for having me here.
We're
You're
so
looking
happy
extra
to-
cute today.
When I tell you.
I saw how you guys usually dress, so I know I had to try to step it up a little bit.
Well, you did that.
Yes, you did. Please leave those boots.
I got you.
I need those.
Tanika, we always start the show and we ask the guests to tell us a little bit about their childhood because we believe that's who shapes us to who we become as adults. Wouldn't you agree?
Actually has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
So a little bit about me.
Okay.
Grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Chicago.
Grew up to teen parents. My mom was 16 when I was born. I think my dad was 19. He was almost 20 at the time. And kind of a normal sort of childhood, what I thought was normal.
Okay.
My mom was in the church, really into the church. So she was super religious.
Okay.
Very, very religious. And because of her religious background, plus how she was raised, she believed in spare the rod, spoil the child, as many of us do believe. She just took it to another level of
times 10.
Yeah. So it was more of things like I had a broken nose before.
Oh my goodness.
I've had a couple. Thank God they were baby teeth.
Oh, wow.
Baby teeth.
Wow.
Knocked out, bloody noses.
But because you did something or just because she was upset?
No, it was always
Okay.
what she considered discipline. It wasn't ever for just no
Okay.
reason.
Okay.
It was what she considered, discipline. And because of the way I was disciplined, it kind of shaped the way I thought love was. Because she would always tell me, I'm only doing this
Because I love you.
because I love you.
Yeah.
So I automatically, correlated.
I get it.
Oh, okay. Well, this is what people do when they love you.
No.
And no one outside of the house knew what was going
Of
on
course
in
not.
the house, because what goes on in my house
Stays in the house.
stays in my house. So when I would walk outside, we would have to put on this perfect facade,
course.
have a smile, nothing is wrong, we are perfect, nothing is going on in
Right.
the household, there's no issues in the household, so no one ever knew
Right.
what was going on.
you were smiling.
Yes.
Behind closed doors. They didn't know that I was going through hell.
Goodness.
So that kind of led to me just kind of rebelling, because I'm like, okay, at 15, I had my oldest daughter, got into relationships where if the guy hit me or something like
You
that,
thought it was normal.
I thought it was normal.
What'd your mom say when you got pregnant at 15?
Yes.
It was more of an embarrassment thing because she was perfect, she was
Everyone saw her
As
as
perfect in the church.
Exactly. So she made no mistakes. They didn't know who she was behind closed
Right.
doors. So I kind of blemished that image
You
Okay.
tarnished the family name.
Yes.
that, she had of me.
Wow.
So it was more of,
She was embarrassed.
embarrassed.
Right.
Because then at that point, we had to go to especially because by that time, her and my dad were divorced.
Okay.
So my dad found out before she did, and I was living in the house with her.
Okay.
Because I hid it.
Like, how did that happen?
I hid it until like 3 weeks before I had my daughter.
3
Oh,
weeks.
wow.
Yeah, I hid it a lot.
You just wore baggy clothes?
So first of all, my church did a lot of fasting.
Okay.
We would fast. So I intentionally made sure I fasted to not gain weight.
Oh,
Because I'm like, I cannot.
That's not
and
healthy.
I was like, well, maybe what'll happen is maybe I'll just miscarry. You know, or maybe I'll, you know, when you're young. I take it. I was 14
I know, you were young.
So
Yeah.
you weren't thinking.
No, not at all.
So I was like, or I can pretend like I'm going to my dad's house and I can have the baby, leave the baby at the hospital, and then come back home. Like
You were
have
thinking
these-
everything.
Wow, at 14.
Yeah, you're thinking these crazy things just so that she won't.
Right, so she won't find
So
out.
she won't find out.
So what about the guy?
Um,
The daddy?
yeah.
The pappy?
Yeah, so he was a lot older. So he was 19 at the time, and he was not in the picture.
No.
Was,
So you were trying to figure this out
I
on
was
your
trying
own.
to figure this out on
Your
my own. So how my dad found out
Yeah.
is I would hold my stomach in whenever I was around my mom or something like that. But I had one day where I was late for school. So I'm walking down the street, there's no one around.
Right.
So I don't have to hold my stomach
Right,
in.
you can let it out.
I don't have to wear a jacket.
Oh, girl.
I don't have the jacket on. And just lo and behold, my aunt, my dad's sister, what she was doing in Beverly, and she lived all the way on 120th and Yale, and I lived on 101st and Charles, two completely different
directions.
areas.
Oh, my.
Don't know why she was in
Right.
my neighborhood, driving down the street on my block.
Oh my
Being
goodness.
nosy? No.
And
Maybe she had a boyfriend over
I don't
there.
know what it was, but for whatever reason that day she was driving
was
down
there.
my block.
Right.
And I heard somebody beep the horn, and I turned around, and I'm like,
Oh, no.
oh my God. So I try to suck in my stomach
Too
and
late.
zip my
Yes, too
jacket.
late.
Yeah.
And by that time, she's like, it looks like you swallowed a basketball.
Oh, man.
And I was like, you know, it's windy outside. The wind must have been
Oh
the
no.
wind must have been blowing my shirt. And she was like, I'll give you a ride. I'm like, no, I'll catch the bus to school. She was like, no, I'm going to
giving
give
you
you
a
a
ride.
ride.
Get in
And
this
I'm
car.
like, oh,
Oh gosh.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So she told your mama.
So she told my dad, because that was
okay,
my dad's sister.
Okay.
Oh
She
man.
told my dad. So my dad calls my mom, and let me just let you know.
Yes.
If someone else outside the house finds out something before she does, because she
Oh,
does have this facade, it's even worse.
Yeah. You're in trouble. You
You're-
know, you're like, I'm getting ready to die.
So when and your dad is calling me, you know how that looks, that makes me look.
She was so busy thinking about herself.
Herself. Image.
You know how that makes me look.
Right.
And are you? And I was like, no, Mom, I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. Well, now he's talking about he's taking you to the doctor. He won't even
my
let me
gosh.
take you. And I'm like, oh, God.
Okay.
He takes me to the doctor.
Oh.
I put orange juice and water in the cup.
For the urine test.
For the urine test.
That's smart.
Not very, because you forget orange juice doesn't look like urine.
No, urine is so thick.
And
She's
then
real
you-
sick at that point. Kidney disease.
Yeah, so I'm like, and it's not warm.
It's cold.
So the lady nurse comes back in there. She was like, this isn't urine.
Let's do
Yes.
this again.
Let's do this again.
Uh.
And I was like, I can't give you urine. I was like, I'm pregnant. She was like, well, how do you know? Have you taken a test? And I was like, well, no. And she was like, well, how do you know?
I just know.
I was like, I haven't had a cycle in like 8 months.
Right.
And she was like, it can be anything. And I was
Stress.
like, well,
Lady.
I'm feeling movement in my stomach.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I know I'm pregnant.
It's a baby.
It's a
She
baby.
was like, it's no way you're that far along. And I'm like, yeah. So then I put urine and water in the cup. And she came back and
She said no.
and she was like, look, you're going to have to
Yeah.
give us a sample.
Yeah.
So I gave him a sample, and obviously,
You're
Yeah.
pregnant.
How
Right.
far along?
She said-
I had the baby 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
So I
she was already
I was
full term, basically.
So I was due, according to the due date they gave me, they were saying like January 3rd. And I was like, it's no possible way.
Right.
And she was like, I was like, I'm telling you.
I know.
I know. I'm like, it's just because maybe I'm not taking care of myself. I've
Yeah.
had no prenatal care.
Yeah.
I've been fasting.
You've been fasting?
I'm like, so maybe the baby's little, but I'm like, there's no way that I'm having a baby in January. And she came December 11th.
She was premature.
She was
She was
6
healthy.
pounds, 11
Okay.
ounces,
You were
6 pounds,
good.
7 ounces. She was fine.
Very good.
Oh, my God.
So, but I knew that, y'all know, she should be coming.
What did your dad say at that moment?
Yes.
When you walked out of that room and went and sat there and waited for the doctor to come in to give those results, what did you do?
So he at first, first thing he said was, how didn't your mother know?
Oh.
You're this far along. How didn't she know?
She wasn't paying attention.
So at that point, you know, she's even more
Yes,
upset
yes.
because that's
Right.
what he's thinking is, like,
Right.
well, how didn't your mama know?
It's your mama's fault.
And then she's like, well, how did you let you do? And I'm like, here I am in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
So, and then at the church, I still don't agree with that. My mom, like I said, was very religious.
Okay.
And we were apostolic Pentecostal. And the
Okay.
church that we went to, let's just say they just had a lot of beliefs that now I believe, I'm a Christian, and I believe in relationship.
okay.
Not so much in the religion and the tradition of things.
Okay. Understand that.
So I had to do something where I had to stand in front of the congregation and apologize
To the church?
To
No,
the
ma'am.
church. So I like battling like, Mom, why do I
Why?
have to apologize to
Right.
people that are not even going to help me take
They're not
care
even
of
in this situation. This is
this,
not has nothing to do with
this
them.
is not, they're not God. Why am
Right.
I apologizing to them? And I had to apologize.
Out of respect, I guess.
They
that's how
all
they
had
look
to
at it.
walk up and tell me one by one. They got in a line, and each let me know that they forgive me.
Oh, wow.
But at 14 years old.
That they forgive me, and then I had to sit on a certain pew in the church, basically like a scarlet letter to let everybody know that I had sinned.
Were you embarrassed?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
embarrassing,
that's
but it was
embarrassing.
embarrassing, but it was more that I'm like, I don't understand
Why? Right.
if I have to answer to God.
Yeah.
Why do I have to answer to these
Why do
people?
I have to answer to these people?
Oh, my
So it was
goodness.
something that I really didn't understand.
Wow.
I'm sorry that happened to you. But I know you'll never forget that. For
Mm-mm,
sure.
never,
Yeah,
ever.
never again. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
that's traumatizing.
So who did you
Wow.
end up living with though? So you had the baby.
I was living with my mom.
You
Okay.
lived, you went back. Okay.
Yep, I was living with my mom.
And how was she?
She absolutely fell in love
Oh,
With her
good.
grandbaby.
with
Very
my what she calls her pancake.
Mm-hmm.
So she fell in love with her.
Okay.
She absolutely loved her, spoiled her, rotten. But she did not. One thing I did take away from my mom, she wasn't one of those parents where, okay, I'm going to do everything for
Right.
you. Even
No.
at 15,
She let you do it.
oh, you're going to get a
yes,
job.
I agree.
Oh, here's your paycheck.
She did right.
Your baby needs
Yes.
diapers.
You have
Oh,
to
your
learn.
baby needs clothes. And I'm like, I got to do.
I
Yes.
agree.
Oh, yeah. you
Yeah, I
have to
agree
do
with that.
Oh, you're going to give me a ride? Oh, no, your baby has to go to the babysitter.
Yeah.
You
Figure
need
it
to
out.
go get on the bus. Get up 2 hours early. Go take your baby to the babysitter. Go
Right.
take. now
Teaches you
go to school.
responsibility.
You get out of school. Go pick your baby up
right.
and come. And I was like, I got to do this.
That's
Because you put yourself there,
But I'm
and
glad she did.
yes,
I'm glad she did that
Absolutely.
because
I
it
think
made
it
me
was a
more
good thing.
responsible.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
that's
good.
what it's about. Because I know
So
a
that
lot.
I did definitely take away from her.
Yeah.
'Cause she's like,
I like that.
She's like, no. She would watch her if I had to do homework or if I had to work. Anything extra?
No, can't go out with your friends and all that.
Oh, you want to
No.
go somewhere with your friends?
Take
the
your
Take
baby.
your baby.
That's right.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Because if she makes it too easy for you, you're gonna
have
go
a-
ahead and do it again.
And the next time I did have another one, but by that time I was on my own for like 2 years.
Okay.
At that point.
Yeah.
You were out
So,
of her house, so it
I was
wasn't-
out of her house.
There was no more shame for you. You didn't have to go in front of the church
no,
then, did you?
I was
Okay.
I was on my own at that point. So.
yeah.
But yes, I took that away from it.
Yeah, well, that's good. But I know, how was your relationship with your children? Is it,
So I have a good relationship with my children. They've been through a lot. So they still are dealing with the remnants
okay,
of the things that they've seen me go through
of course.
and
yeah.
the things that they have
Yeah.
gone through.
We're going to talk about them in a moment. You know,
Yeah.
some things that happened to them. But for you, as a mother, and what your mother did to you, you know, with the way she disciplined. I know you did not discipline your children the way that you were disciplined.
Actually, with my oldest, because I thought
That's what you
that
knew.
was discipline.
Yeah, right.
So in her early years, I
You
did.
Yeah, you didn't know.
It took for me to like break down one
Yeah.
day and like, I'm my mom.
Yeah, what am
It's
I
a
doing?
repetitive cycle.
What am I doing?
Yeah, what am I
for
doing?
me to break out of it? But yeah, I did at first.
You know what I was thinking? I didn't ask is, do you think things would have been different if your father was living in the home?
I do.
Really.
When my dad was in the home, I actually put that in my book. It felt like he shielded me from a lot of things.
Okay.
Because he knew her. He probably knew how she was.
That's probably
he
why they went
started
together.
seeing things. My mom she will never admit to it,
Okay.
but my mom has a lot of mental things that she hasn't addressed, and she kind of sweeps it under the rug like
Well,
there's
she's fine.
nothing wrong. She's fine. It's nothing wrong.
Right.
And he shielded me from a lot of it.
Okay.
And with him being out of the house,
Right.
it was nobody to say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Stop this.
stop this. No, it
It was just you and her.
was just me and her. So
I'm sorry that you had to deal with
I
that.
know.
And I know your father.
yeah, when he read the book and he was like, I'm like, it's nothing you can do
No.
about it now. And I'm like, and you didn't know because I
Right.
couldn't tell you because
No.
what went on in the house had to stay in the house. And if I told you, it would be even worse on me
Correct.
because I told you what was going on in the house.
Exactly.
Because I know I had to go back there.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah. Isn't that something how the way that you're raised? Because, that's how we were raised. And I believe it's probably the age. It's probably that time, that generation, that if anything happens, whatever goes on in the home, it has to stay in the home. When you walk out that door, you need to make sure you smile. You don't tell people what's going on at home. You need to keep your
it's the
mouth
truth.
shut.
So
So here we go.
it's the truth.
And so you didn't even tell your good friend.
I didn't tell anybody.
Nobody.
Now, some of my friends in like the neighborhood, I'm pretty sure they knew some things because say when the street lights came on, they would see my mom walking down the street with the belt in her hand. And they're like, Tanika, you better get in the house.
better get in the house quick.
She got it. So stuff like that. Or one day, one of my friends that lived at the end of the block and her brother. So I shouldn't have been doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was maybe about 9 or 10 playing with matches.
Okay.
A lot of kids do.
Yeah, playing with matches, and I burnt like a hole. It wasn't a big hole, but it still was a little hole on the I guess it's called mica something countertop. It's not. We didn't have granite.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was
know
a
what
little
you're
hole,
talking
and I was like,
I'm in
I
trouble.
cannot go upstairs and tell my mama this. She is going to beat me.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Don't know why. The logic in my head was to call my dad. Called my dad and told him.
Because you needed help, and you knew your dad was almost like your shield.
Yeah, so I'm like, look, this is what I did. I burnt a hole in it.
Right.
Like, it's not bad. But like, I can't tell her. Can you tell her for me?
Oh, man.
But I didn't think about it. That made it worse.
It did
because
make it
now
worse.
You're
You-
telling
somebody
somebody
else.
That happened in the
outside the
house.
house what happened in the house.
Absolutely.
So he's like, put your mom on the phone. And it's like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, my goodness.
gosh.
So he's snapping on her. Why is she up at 2 o'clock in the morning? You sleep. Why you don't know what she's doing? And I'm like, oh, you just
That's
made
it. Yeah.
Made it worse.
worse.
So what
So
happened?
he gets off the phone with her, and she snaps.
Oh.
You call your dad, got him questioning why. Now you done told him what's going on in my household, and she went and told
That
me
was
to
it.
strip. Got an extension cord, and she went to beat it. And I'm running throughout the house, and and that's another rule. You don't run
No, you stand right there.
when you're being beat because it makes it worse.
Yes, you're gonna get more.
You're gonna get more if you run. But this is the first time she had whooped me with an extension cord.
Oh, my Lord.
My goodness.
On the naked body, and that
Oh.
if you've ever been hit with an extension cord,
Just
when
like you're
it
being
hits,
cut.
It literally rips your skin.
So you still have bruises?
Yeah, I have. So it hurts.
Yes.
So I'm running throughout the house, and she's hitting me with it. She gets me in the bathroom.
my
I'm still
goodness.
trying to. She chokes me out.
Oh, my
I kind of black out a little
goodness.
bit. I came back to it. I'm like,
Wow.
she's not gonna stop. She's pissed because I called my dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is not gonna stop.
How did you get out of that?
Butt naked in the rain.
my Lord.
I
Ran out.
ran outside and
probably would've
ran
done the same.
down the street,
Somebody
knocking
call
on
the
doors.
police?
To
No,
let
but
you in.
But it's 2 o'clock in the morning, so most people are asleep.
Yeah.
Right.
I get to the last house on the block, and I'm banging on the door, and my friend's twin brothers, who were
Oh, my
older,
gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
answer the door
Yeah.
to me
Oh,
naked.
boy. That's
at
not
the
good.
door.
That doesn't sound good.
No.
No, but they answer the door and they call the police.
Okay, good.
Whatever. But
Okay.
police come, take me to the emergency, take me to the hospital or whatever. My dad comes or whatever.
That was worse for you, though.
Yeah,
Right.
they go take her to the police station. They're questioning her. She was like, she fell,
Oh.
and my dad is like, she
Marks.
fell,
Right.
Marks
like
all over her body.
But back then, I guess they weren't as tough.
Yeah.
So like, okay, take a parenting class. They made me live with my dad for the summer. She took an anger management class, and I
And you
went
were
right
back
back.
home. Did it get worse? Or did...
It was the same. She never did it with an extension cord again, but nothing changed.
Were you holding
same
some
thing.
type of resentment towards her with all this pain that she inflicted upon you?
I was still because it like you just love her.
Yeah.
That's your
So
mom.
you love her.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. So I didn't start holding resentment until one of the last incidents that really kind of shaped our relationship. And to this day, we still have a really
Yeah.
strange relationship.
Yeah.
She was dating someone. I was 16 at the time.
Okay.
I used to tell her, because she started dating him when I was like I think I was right before I turned 16 is when she started dating him. But I would tell her, Mom, he's saying some real inappropriate things to me. You know, well, the guy that you've been with must didn't do you right because you're not bow-legged. I mean, he would just say,
Oh,
What?
no,
Oh
ma'am.
my gosh!
Just-
Come on, with a 15-year-old.
yeah, just some real inappropriate things. Give me like these books that
Of what things to do.
like just some real inappropriate
Yes.
things, and she kind of would just
Brushed it off.
brush it off. So one time I came home late. So when she's upset, she locked me out. She wouldn't let me in. At that point, we had our house had got foreclosed on, so we had moved into an apartment. We had an apartment here. He had an apartment there. I'm banging on the door. She was like, "Nope, you're not coming in. Figure it out." I'm like, "So where am I supposed to go?" She was like, "Figure it out." So I got my baby. So we go next door to his apartment. He was like, "All right, you guys take the bedroom. I'll sleep on the couch." I'm like,
Wait a
"Cool."
minute. This is
The
the guy
same
that
guy.
she was dating?
The guy
Oh,
that she was
man.
dating.
Okay.
So I'm like, "Okay, well, we get the bedroom. He got the couch.
Okay.
That's good.
Yes.
Okay, that's good."
Yes.
But in the middle of the night, I awake to somebody parting my legs open, licking inside my thighs.
Oh.
So I'm crying,
OMG.
and I'm like,
OMG.
"Don't do this. Don't do this." And I'm like, "My daughter is laying right here. You
Oh, my
cannot do this.
gosh.
You cannot do this."
Oh
And
my
he
goodness.
was like, "She's asleep." And I know it sounds like bad parenting, but I just couldn't think. And I'm like, he's not going to stop. So I pinched my daughter.
To
hard
wake
as I
up.
could,
Yeah.
To wake her up. She started screaming.
Good.
Her screaming
Yes.
This made him stop.
made him stop.
Ooh.
Tanika.
Good thinking. Good thinking.
Yeah,
I
her
mean,
screaming made
yeah.
him stop.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then he had a set of keys to my mom's car. I don't know how I made it from where we were living to my grandmother's house. We lived on 79th Street.
Okay.
My grandma lived on 120th.
Wow.
That's a ways.
That's a ways away. I didn't know how to drive at the time. I didn't have a license, and I didn't know how to drive.
But you drove that night
I drove from 79th
to
to 120th to my grandmother's house. And at that point, she used to work at the police station. So they had the police and everything there.
What happened to
My
him?
mom showed up to court on his behalf.
On his behalf.
Really?
She told them that I was lying, and I made up the story because I was upset that her and my dad weren't together anymore.
right.
Even though her and my dad at that point had been
Split up.
apart for about 8-9 years.
And that's not what you expect.
So they believed her.
They believed her.
And what did you have to do after that? You had to go back.
I had to go back.
You have to go back.
Oh,
Because you're a minor. You're a child.
I had to go back. So at that point, it really just
Yes.
Yes. But how do you feel living in a home with a mother that you love, being honest, telling her what's happening, and for her to just say, it didn't happen?
It hurt.
Yes,
and
it
then,
hurt.
And I was very vocal about it. I told everybody.
Yes.
This man, I'm very vocal, and she would tell everybody,
You lied.
I'm lying.
Yeah.
So she stayed with him?
Oh, and
Oh.
married him afterwards.
Oh no.
Married him afterwards.
That had to hurt. Wow.
Oh.
That's a
So sorry
Gut
that you
punch.
had to go through that
Oh.
as a
Oh, yeah.
child. Because you were a child, 15, 16
Yeah.
years old.
So I ended up moving out at 17. Once I graduated high school, I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Moved out,
Yeah.
got my own apartment, but they stayed married maybe about 10 years. He continued to treat her like crap until he left her.
Okay.
And continued to cheat on her and everything. And I kept telling her, you don't believe me, but he has a baby
Right.
by a
With somebody.
girl that's 6 months older than I am.
And she still didn't
Oh.
believe.
And you don't believe me.
Yeah. Did
Like,
she ever believe?
well. That's too close. That's why she's a daughter.
What she says now is, well, if it did happen, I'm sorry. If it did happen, I'm sorry I didn't believe you. But thank God it wasn't any penetration, so it wasn't.
It still happened.
Wow.
He abused me.
Her logic is, it's no penetration.
Right. So
He abused
No
me.
foul
It's
was
no
done.
penetration.
So
it's
you all
no-
right?
Nothing was done.
You all right?
It's no
yeah,
penetration.
you're good. Get over it.
No.
It's okay. Get over it. It's no penetration.
Do you think that maybe she was abused as a child?
Probably.
I honestly do.
Yes.
Well, I found out that a lot of her sisters were.
Okay.
So I honestly
Yeah.
believe that she was.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
So for you, being in such an abused home, and you think that's being loved by your parent, you got into several relationships.
Oh yeah.
Can you share with us?
So with one of my daughters, dad pulled a gun on me before. because he was super jealous. But I saw it as
Love.
it's love. He's doing it because he don't want me to be with anybody
Right.
else. I thought it was the cutest thing because he loves me that,
That
much.
Of course, of course.
That the thought of me being with somebody else just makes him crazy.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know. You
That's
grew
what
up
you
in an
saw.
abusive home. That's what you, and you thought it was okay.
But
You
that's
thought
what
it
her
was
mother
normal.
saw as well, probably. It's just
Right.
like a generation.
Repetitive.
Yeah.
Repetitive. It stops with you.
Exactly.
You're breaking the generational curse. It's stopping with you.
It's crazy
Yeah.
how,
It has to stop.
and I had self-esteem issues too. You know,
Yes.
I had a lot of self. My mom's term of endearment for me was Blackie.
Oh,
Come
no.
Blackie. So hey Blackie, come here Blackie. She said that I always wanted a black
A
chocolate
dark-skinned
child. Come here Blackie. My mom's like.
That's abuse for sure.
So what she thought was a term of endearment
Endearment.
for me,
Yes.
What's hurting you?
it was like, whoa, I'm that dark.
Right. Is nobody gonna want me? And,
Like,
you know,
whoa.
Yeah.
So I had always had a real
Poor
issue
thing.
with my
Yeah.
my complexion.
Yes.
And then where we lived, you know, my mom and dad were well off, so where we lived, it was a lot of whites and lighter skinned
Right.
people.
Yeah.
So, and then you would get the white guys, oh, you're cute for a dark skinned girl.
It's always that.
So you
For
heard
a
that.
dark skinned girl. Or if I dated dark skinned girls,
Yeah, it was
I would
always
date-
dark.
Yeah, so you
I
start to
would-
build a complex
date
about
you.
yourself. It's
oh,
like,
you have such pretty hair for a dark
Dark-skinned
skinned
girl.
girl. Oh, your hair is so long
For a dark skin.
skin. I was like,
That
good
stayed in your mind.
God.
Yeah. So you didn't think that you were even enough. You
So
didn't think you
I
were
didn't think I
beautiful.
was beautiful. I didn't like what I saw when I looked in the mirror. So you start accepting things.
Yes.
And it's like, well, at least he thinks
right,
I am.
right, right.
'Cause
Right. So
he
let me
sees
go ahead
some-
and go with him.
He sees something that I don't even see when I look in the mirror.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Isn't that something? Hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah. So sorry you had to go through all of that. But even with that,
Mm-hmm.
you are one amazing woman.
Yes.
that's the grace of God.
Yes.
You are one amazing woman because of everything that you went through,
Mm-hmm.
you're giving back.
Yes.
You have this, what is it?
Bruised but not destroyed.
You have a housing for battered women,
Yes.
That's so
abused
nice.
women, and then you have a thrift store
Mm.
as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
So with the Bruised but not destroyed, how that actually came about, I had a breakdown. Okay. I found out some things about my children.
What happened?
So I had remarried. I had left my abusive husband and came to Florida, and I met what I thought was my knight in shining armor.
Yes.
He had no children. You know,
He accepted your children.
He accepted all of my children.
Wow.
I mean, he had, looking back in hindsight, is 2020.
Yeah, I know.
He had an amazing relationship with my daughters and, you know, and my newborn son, and he treated them like his own. And I'm like, this is it.
Yes.
This is it, you know. So what? You know, he's a narcissist. So what? He cheats on me.
Right.
all the
He's
time.
taking care of me.
Yes,
And he loves
he
my
loves
children.
me.
He loves my children, and that's the most important
Yes.
thing. And he treats my children like their own. So no matter what he's doing there,
Right.
Okay.
it's okay.
Mm.
After being together 15 years, I found out he had molested all 3 of my daughters.
He did what?
He had molested all 3 of my daughters.
Oh, no.
So
And they never said anything.
they didn't say. This is the only father that they knew.
Right.
And because in their mind,
Mm-hmm.
since he hadn't physically penetrated them, they saw it, and this is what they say when they tell me, well, we knew that he shouldn't have been fondling or you know, doing things to our breasts, but we figured that he wasn't doing anything else, so we didn't see it as that bad. And I'm like, oh my
Gosh.
God.
And I know as parents, we talk to our children. We have this conversation all the time that a lot of times parents will say, oh, make sure nobody touches your cupcake. Make sure nobody does that. You need to tell these children
what it
Make
is.
sure nobody touches your vagina. Make sure nobody touches your breast. Make sure we have to break it down.
Yeah,
you know?
we do.
All the way down.
All the
Yes.
way down, because kids nowadays, they're like, you know, he's my dad.
And
He's
that's-
taking care of me.
And that's what they saw.
He
They
loves
were-
us.
Oh.
And that's what they saw. So they didn't tell me until like years later. So at that point,
Yeah.
they said the abuse had stopped maybe 2 years earlier. But it had gone on systematically, he started at the same age
With all of
with
them.
all three of them around the
Yeah.
same age, around the age of like 11.
What
with
did you
each one of
tell
the-
him?
One of the girls. So I called him because I immediately believed them.
Yeah,
Of course.
Of course.
You weren't doing like
yeah,
your mom
I
did.
No.
immediately believed. So I called him at work, and I am screaming.
Yes.
And I'm like, you need to get here
Yeah.
and get your, and you need to get out. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, I'm calling the police.
Yes, yes.
So, and it's crazy how the system is set up
Yeah.
because it's the burden of proof is on the victims.
Yes, unfortunately.
And even though, you know, Child Protective Services did a psych about, and they said, we believe that it did happen. They was like, their stories and the way he groomed each one of them
Oh my gosh.
is almost
the same.
identical. He was like, so we know what happened, but because we don't have any evidence,
Come on.
it's really no, she's like, I'm going to be honest with you.
But it's the evidence is them speaking on it. All
That's
all
not,
of them.
But that's
Wow.
not evidence.
Has the system failed us?
Yeah.
It has, definitely.
So he's still free.
It has.
That's not evidence. There's
He's
no,
still free.
There's no semen. There's
Nothing.
There's no picture. There's no
You
video.
abuse these girls.
Man,
There's no proof.
what did that do to you?
A breakdown. Like
Yes.
a literal breakdown because I'm like, first of all, I invited this man into my kid's life.
You trusted him.
But it's not just that. Not that I just trust him. The decision that I made because I hadn't healed
Right.
and searching for something that no one else could feel, that I had to feel myself, and only God
Yes.
can help me. I was still broken. My self-esteem was still low.
Yes.
And because I had basically invited this man into my children's life, and he saw that coming.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it was
You
like,
opened up your heart.
Yeah.
You opened up your life.
and it's like I did this to my kids.
Oh no,
Like,
no, you didn't.
That's what I
That's
felt.
how you felt?
Yeah.
It's like I did this because of the choices that I made. I did this to my kids.
But you
So
have no idea. It starts with, Tanika, it starts with your mother. But it started with her parents. You did not do that. You were trying to do the best that you could for your children.
don't feel like
This
that
I
when it
know,
happens
I know.
to your kids.
Yes, yeah.
though.
But you were looking for love.
Yeah.
All the wrong
This
places.
man came. He loved you. He accepted you, like you said.
But,
he accepted your
but
children.
loving my children.
He
is
can
where
love
he
them,
got-
but not like that.
Exactly.
He knew what to do.
He knew what to do. My children, like my children.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't touch my children.
Yeah, my children. That's.
I'm
so
sure there's a
he-
lot of women on the corner that
Oh,
he could have
yes.
gone to. Why did it have to happen to these innocent children?
Poor thing.
Yeah. So yeah, and even when I told my mom, and I'm like, I can't. At one point, I was even so like, I told my mom what happened, and I'm like, I can't believe it. And she was like, well, thank God it wasn't worse and he didn't penetrate them.
No, she's still saying that.
Thank God he didn't penetrate them.
No,
Man.
they were abused.
But he
Yes.
did.
You don't have
what-
to be
and
penetrated.
He didn't penetrate, so it's not as bad. It's not like he really did anything because he
Wow.
didn't penetrate
Come
them.
on. What did you say to her?
So at this point, I'm like, I'm so messed up in
Yes.
the head, and I'm like,
Come
okay, well,
on.
he didn't penetrate
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Mom, it's the exact
Same
same
thing.
thing. That is like, and she even had me believing that I could work it out with him.
What?
And get-
Really?
And I was like, okay,
No.
I'm gonna try. He can't leave in the house. I'm gonna try. And then
No.
one day, I'm like, what the
Yeah.
heck is
What am I doing?
like? I can't do this.
Like,
No.
wake up.
I
yeah.
You
can't
can't do this.
do this.
No.
And I literally just had,
You had a breakdown.
Breakdown.
I had a breakdown at work
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
because it was like just years and
Build up.
years and years. And I'm like, God, why
Why?
Why me?
does it
Why
seem
my
like
kids?
everything? And then I'm like, happened to me. And I'm like, and now to my kids.
Yes.
It's like, I know the mental issues that I have now because of everything I've
on.
gone through. I'm like, so now I know the mental issues that
They're
my
gonna go
kids
through.
are about
Yes.
to go through
Yes. Oh
from
my
all of this stuff
gosh.
that they've gone through.
My
They've
goodness.
already seen me have to physically fight in the first marriage. Now they've been abused in this one.
They've
And
been
it's
through
like,
too much.
these kids have been through hell.
They didn't
Yes, they
ask for
have.
that.
They
They didn't
didn't.
ask to be here.
No, they
Right?
didn't.
And it's like, and so I just had a breakdown
I would have had that the same thing.
and
Yeah.
just started writing.
Yes.
started writing and just started writing. And I put out a book.
Yes, here's this book.
And I put it out, and people just started calling and emailing, and I'm like, my story isn't an isolated incident. I'm like,
No.
there's a lot of stuff like this that happens in households.
Right.
Absolutely.
But nobody knew. Well, people don't speak on it.
They don't speak on it.
They weren't speaking on it. They were keeping their mouths closed, 'cause
And that's what they
we
were
were
telling.
raised.
And I was like, this happens a lot. And more people. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to create a nonprofit. We were
for you.
bruised, but not
destroyed.
destroyed.
Yes.
That's it. And it started off as a way where we can just communicate. You're not alone.
Right.
We can talk. I'm going to refer you to resources for, mental health counseling. If you want to leave and you just need help getting food, we're going to get you some
help.
food.
That's
I'm going to
awesome.
help. And it started off
Yes.
like that. And then the pandemic hit. And then we started getting phone calls for housing.
Yeah.
And I'm
They need a
like,
place to stay.
I don't know what to do.
Because of the pandemic, people were home more.
They sure were.
The abuse,
And the abuse kept going and
Exactly.
getting worse.
it's high.
And I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I'm like, I have to create some housing.
Yeah.
And
Look at
that's
that.
And you did it.
Look
And
at
that's what I
that.
did.
And you did it. Thank you so much for that.
Wow.
Thank you so much for that. These women, they need it. They need
A
it.
lot of them do.
Yeah, they need it. And I know you wish you had a larger place because there's so many.
There's so many.
There's so
God
many
is going to
women.
bless.
Oh, He is.
He's gonna
Yeah.
bless.
He's going to bless.
He's
The-
gonna bless,
the
and guess
dream
what?
is
There'll be
going
more.
to be an apartment complex or an abandoned hotel
That's right.
that we can convert.
Love
There you
it.
go.
Love it.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
Each and every one of us has to do something because that is my dream, to have a home for battered women and children. It takes each and every one of us to do something. One person cannot do it alone.
No.
We're
We
stronger
cannot
together.
do it alone.
Absolutely.
We're stronger
Yeah.
together.
Stronger together.
So,
That's
Tanika,
amazing.
you and your beautiful children, did y'all seek any type of help?
I did.
Okay.
My children, they're grown now.
Yes.
Except for my youngest. My son is 17.
Okay.
Everybody's not comfortable
I know.
speaking to other people
I know, yeah.
about
Correct,
their
yeah.
problems. So
Of
I would,
course.
hey, come on, let's go to dinner. Well, I don't want
They don't
to
want
talk
to.
to anybody
Yeah.
about that. Well, you can do it, but I'm just going to sit there and look at them. and I'm like,
They're not ready. They don't want
Yeah.
to. They will on
They
their
will.
own.
Yeah, so now they're finally getting to the point
Okay.
Okay,
where
good.
they're like, Mom,
Yeah.
I really need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, like, I have one. So there's things what I call remnants of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And it manifests in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's depression, suicidal thoughts. Sometimes it's acting out sexually. Sometimes it's just pretending like everything is
Everything's good.
okay.
Right.
And I've gone through all of those.
Yeah.
And each one of my children, I notice, has parts of it. So I
Right.
have one
Yes.
that she can go from 0 to like
Yes.
7,000.
Real quick.
Like, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really quick. And thank God I can calm her down, but
Nobody else.
Nobody else can.
Nobody
Wow.
else.
Because you've been in her
Yeah,
shoes.
nobody else can. But
You know what to do. You know how to do it.
I have another one where she does another thing that I used to do where I just bottle everything up. Everything's okay. I'm going to smile. Nothing's
blow
wrong.
up.
Everything's okay. Until one thing kind
Yep.
of makes you.
Blow up.
So she just had a breakdown the other day. She was like, Mom, I don't know why I'm crying.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm like, I know why you're
why.
crying.
Yeah.
I know why you're
Isn't
crying.
that something?
So it's like, and then my son, even though he didn't have the abuse,
Right.
my ex was with him from the time he was like 2 or 3 weeks. So he literally
Right.
raised him. That was the only
father he knew.
father he knew. So the only father that he knew is ripped away from him, that he can never see again,
No.
that he had a strong bond with, and to find out he's
knows.
done this to my
my
sister.
Yes.
sisters.
Yes.
So can you
Yeah.
imagine?
He had the carpet pulled out from underneath him.
I could
That's
only
what happened.
imagine. Poor
So
thing.
can you imagine what
Yes.
he's going through
Yes.
right now?
And you know what? We have this conversation as well with our black boys, our young boys. They are just, boys are a little different. They're a little different.
They
than
keep
He
it
girls.
is,
inside.
and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
in addition to that, he's more emotional
Yeah.
because he's also mildly intellectually disabled.
Okay.
So now you're dealing with a combination of all of it. So now he has these things where he just gets so angry and he's sad sometimes, and he was like, is it weird that I still miss him? I'm like,
No,
No, it's not. Yeah.
And even my girls, they're like, we know what he did,
Mm-hmm.
but it's odd because like part of us, we still
Right.
miss him. We still love
Well,
him.
they know
But
his
15
dad.
years of
Yeah.
him being in their lives. You were
Like
That's a long
we
time.
still wonder if he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Do you know
So
anything? Have you
it's-
heard anything?
last time I heard from him was maybe about a year ago.
Mhm.
Okay.
He was still living locally. He was.
Wow.
Did
It's
he ever
fine.
apologize?
He did.
He did.
He apologized to him.
Well, that's
one
big of
by,
him.
Like over, he was like, he said, I know what I did was wrong.
He didn't say why.
He said that he had some abuse done to
Okay,
him.
okay.
He was,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, and that's
This is
what-
how it goes. It's just a cycle.
It's a cycle.
awful.
And he apologized.
Right.
He cried and apologized like over and over and over.
Right.
Well, at least he has
But you
remorse.
can't.
No.
he
Can't take it
has-
back.
You can't take it back.
You can't.
No. And that's going to
But-
be years of trauma. And
Years of
Yeah,
trauma.
for
you
your
can't take it
children
back.
and for you.
But for me, and even for them, even though you apologize to them, even though you apologize to me to what you did to them,
Right.
you still are telling your family that the children are lying.
Stop it.
So you won't
So
admit
that
it.
means you're not you don't
No.
mean it.
He doesn't
it's not
want
sincere.
he doesn't want his family to know
Yeah,
what he's
yeah.
done.
That he's a
but he-
monster.
That he's a monster. He wants them to see him in a certain light.
Wow.
So to us, it means nothing.
No,
Yes.
You
you're lying.
apologize to us, but then you won't admit it
No.
to anyone else.
No, we don't accept your apology because you're hiding it.
You're
with
hiding
everyone
it.
else. No.
So
So how are you doing?
finally,
Yes.
I'm actually finally the fact that I can sit here
Yes. Yes.
and actually talk about it
Yes.
and not break down.
Yeah.
For a long time, I could
You couldn't
not
talk.
do that.
It's healing. Yes.
Every time you open your mouth, it just
It would just,
Yeah.
I couldn't. But I can actually talk about it,
yes.
and I'm healed.
You're helping so many
strong.
people.
Yes, you're such a strong
So
woman.
it means it's amazing. It feels freeing.
Yeah.
It's just like a weight lifted.
Mm-hmm.
We are so proud of
Yes.
you.
So
So proud of you. You have overcome a lot, and I know every day is not a good day.
No.
no, it's not because you know you
Good day.
still have those
Oh,
days
yeah.
I know.
where
I
you
know.
just. Whew,
I
I
know.
still get them. You sit in the car and you just cry.
Oh yeah,
You're like, okay,
you can't stop.
I needed that.
Yes. Yes.
I had one last week.
Yeah.
week before last.
It
I
was
couldn't
bad.
stop.
Yeah, you like I needed that, but I'm learning that I have to do that. It's release.
Yes.
Because what I have been used to doing,
Holding
Holding
it
it
in.
inside.
Holding
that was,
it in.
Yeah.
and
that's
that
not
It's not
healthy.
good because you blow up afterwards.
Healthy because I would blow up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't hold it
So when I
inside.
feel like I need it,
Yeah.
Let it out.
let it out.
Good for you. At least you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are your kids aware of the same?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They now know.
Okay.
They now know, and it's what they like is because they have been so used to. I guess I have been conditioned to be so hard,
Yeah. Yeah.
show no emotion. I'm strong,
Detached.
and
Yeah.
so they actually like it now that I'm showing more
Yeah.
emotion.
Yes.
It makes me more human.
You're human. I was
Yes,
just gonna say
yes.
that. Yeah, she's not a robot. She's
Yeah,
human.
it makes me more human
Yeah.
now because I know I'm married now. So I got
Okay.
married in February.
Okay,
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. That was what he was saying. He was like, you're not so affectionate. You're like
Yeah.
That's what
so.
I've been through.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not intentional.
No, it's not.
And it doesn't mean that I don't love you. That's what I
right.
used to say before. And I
Yeah.
was like, it's just,
Yeah,
I have to
I've
work
been
on
through
it. Baby
so
steps.
much.
Baby
You've been
steps.
through so
Steps.
much.
I've been through so much. So I'm like, I don't. He was like, but I would love, like, if something hurts you to cry. And I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
Right. Right.
I'm like, maybe
Yeah.
maybe later, but
Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
not yet. It's not
Isn't
going to
that
happen.
something?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're happy for you.
Oh, yeah.
We're happy that you're able to find love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know with me, I went through a struggle. It's hard to find, after being abused for so many years, it's hard to
Yeah.
really find genuine love.
Yes.
You have to go through these different changes and different, personalities or whatever. So it's
Exactly.
very hard. So I'm so happy for you.
It's, for me, it's odd. It was kind of like reprogramming
Mm-hmm.
my mind and my spirit to be attracted to something different.
Yes,
which
you had
was-
to.
Because what I noticed is I seem to have prior been attracted to the exact same person.
Yep.
It seemed like.
Yeah, it was Tom. It was
But it was
Daniel,
the same person.
but it was the same person.
It was the same person.
Yes.
So when I can't say met my husband because it's odd. We grew up together.
Oh,
Yeah.
the best
You didn't
relationship.
see him though. You didn't see him then. You
Yeah.
didn't see him. That wasn't your type then.
No.
No, we grew up. We grew up together. He's younger,
Okay.
so I definitely wasn't checking.
Yes, right.
Definitely wasn't checking for him. So kind of connected on Facebook, and he connected with me in 2017, and I don't know what happened. I guess kind of like
Yeah.
blew him
Nah.
off. You know, blew him off. And then I happened to be scrolling in 2019. You know, doing a post, and I went past. I was like, "Oh, that dude was fine," and I just.
Wait a minute. Let me go
I was
back.
like, damn. I was like, is that?
So and so.
Is that
Wait a minute.
She
So
said.
I messaged him, and it was a joke. And I messaged him, was like, man, if I knew you
fine?
was going to grow up to look like that, I might have been checking for you
Right.
back in the day. But it was a joke because he still lived in Chicago at the time. So it was a joke. And he was like, well, I always had a crush on you.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, okay, but I'm like, well, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I was like, because you're in Chicago, I'm
Right.
here. And he's like, just a flight away. And I'm like, yeah.
Here we
okay,
go.
Whatever. And then he messaged me like 10 minutes later. He was like,
I'm
hey.
coming.
He was like, I got a flight for this certain weekend. I was like, oh, we're buying flights to come see people. Okay.
There we go. That's all she wrote.
And that's all she wrote. And even though he was handsome,
Right.
and he was everything that I had prayed for, I still didn't have the attraction that I thought that I should. And I was like, God, what is it?
Yeah.
And it's like, is it because he's not misusing me? Is it because he's not cheating on me? Is it? Treated me like literally treated me like a queen.
Yes.
I had never had anybody
You
love
need
me
that, but
Yeah.
you should
way
be treated like a queen.
that he loves me.
Oh,
like,
thank God.
I
That's
So
beautiful.
happy for you.
Never
That's beautiful.
had someone love me the
And
way
your
that
children
this
need to
man
see
loved
that
me.
too.
And it's like, I'm like, what is it? I had to reprogram
Yes,
my mind
Yes,
to
ma'am.
be attracted
Yes, ma'am.
to the. And I'm like, and he prayed, and his father's a pastor. I'm like, he prays. Hey, let's pray.
Yeah.
Hey, let's this.
Oh, my
And I
goodness.
was like,
Wait a
Not used to
minute.
this right
I'm
here.
not. I'm used to this right here.
You had to slap yourself.
This is
Yeah,
intense.
This is
Pinch yourself.
okay. When that other shoe gonna drop?
Yeah, it's getting ready to happen.
What's
Something's going
gonna
on.
happen?
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes, that's good
What
news.
a happy ending, right?
He's a good man.
Yeah.
He
Congratulations
really
to you.
is.
We all deserve happiness.
Lord,
Yes.
didn't think it was gonna happen.
Long time coming.
Long time coming.
Yes.
Had to kiss a couple frogs before the found the prince.
Girl, stop. You don't want to hear how
Don't
many
even
frogs
talk
I had
about
to
frogs.
kiss.
Don't even talk about frogs. You're going to get her started.
Look, that's another show.
Yes, it is.
How can the viewers support you?
So,
Yes.
how you guys can support?
Yes.
You can go to our website at www.bbinc.org. And to make that easy, it stands for Bruised But Not Destroyed Inc.org. You can donate there. It helps us to open up more homes. We can sponsor women. Sometimes they don't have funding, so this will allow us to be able to at least sponsor them for a month or two until we can help them find jobs or find funding to be able to put them through. You can follow us on Facebook at Bruised But Not Destroyed Inc. You can also follow us on Instagram at Bruised But Not Destroyed. If you would like to donate, you can donate to our thrift store as well, because if you can't donate
Nice.
money, things
Yes.
equal money.
Yes.
At our
Oh,
thrift
yes.
store. It's New Purpose Thrift in Arbondale, Florida. You can follow us on Facebook at New Purpose Thrift or on Instagram at New Purpose Thrift Store.
And we'll
Wow.
post it as well.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, we'll post it as well.
Well, we're going to have a candid minute with you and get you out of here. We all handle trauma differently. What did Tanika do to heal from your traumatic past? What have you done and continue to do?
Actually speaking,
Okay.
Speaking, I'm
my
talking about it.
transparency, there is so much healing
Yes.
in transparency.
Yes.
Talking and writing things that I thought that I was okay
Yes.
from, I guess I had just buried.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I would talk about it or every time I would write, it would just,
Yeah.
I would cry.
Yeah.
But it made me address it, made me face
Yeah,
it.
face
I
it.
could no longer run from it.
Exactly.
The transparency was healing for me.
Yes, yes, yes.
I totally
agree.
agree with that.
I
Yeah,
agree.
we definitely agree.
Yeah, and that's what we say about this show as well. You know, how the show was created every single time we open our mouths, it's healing for us, and we know it's helping someone.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Every single time. That's why we love to have guests like you come and tell your story, so that way others know
Yeah,
that
they're not alone.
this is not the end for me. This is not the end for me. I can do this.
Yes.
I can get back up. I can get back up and do something.
Your pain produces
Yes.
your
Your
purpose.
purpose.
Yes, it's true.
I couldn't understand. I'm like, well, God, why do you keep allowing
Right.
all this to happen to me? I had to think about it. He allowed me to get through it. And the reason he allowed me to get through it is
get to your
because
purpose.
now I have a purpose, and my purpose is to help people navigate through those situations, or just through my transparency, help some of those avoid
Yes.
those same pitfalls all
Yes, ma'am.
together. And so that we can now, I can break the generational curses
Yes.
with my children and my grandchildren,
Thank God.
and help others break those same curses with their children and grandchildren.
Have to.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's it.
So
That's it.
Break it.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
break those chains.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right. It has to start somewhere.
it does.
Good. Thank you so much. for
Yes,
being
we
on the
appreciate
show.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Survivor.
Yes.
We are victorious.
Yes, we are. God bless you.
God bless.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Please join us next Tuesday at 6 p.m. for another amazing testimony from a guest right here from our community. Tanika shared her inspirational testimony with us. She was bruised, but not destroyed. It takes a warrior heart to come out of what Tanika has been through. Abuse is about two things: power and control. As she has overcome many of life's challenges, she is able to have great empathy for clients who face hardship. In closing, trauma creates change. You don't choose. We are real sisters sharing real stories within our community. We thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk About It, the Candid Conversation Show.
Let's go.
Come on, let's have a candid conversation. Let's talk about it. Just bring it up, we got hope and love.
Yeah.
It's all about you and your well-being. The Candid Conversation Show. Let's go, let's talk about it.